In one of Luise Heinzl's videos she posted a few weeks ago, she made ephemera out of a masterboard she created using her beautiful digital Women in Rome. In that video, she also used her genius method of stamping with distressed oxides on wet paper, which then becomes permanent. I will of course link her video below in the description box. Every time Luise shows a technique, I immediately want to try it out. So I don't like watching Luise's videos because she manages to inspire me every single time, and all I want to do is copy her rather than do my own thing. But today I'm going to do just that and hopefully add a touch of my own style as well. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So these prints that you see here are my last month's digital kit called Keeper of Memories, which is the one I want to use to try Luise's technique. So I printed these on matte photo paper. I think I'm using a different brand than Luise is, but that's actually good because I want to see if it works with any matte photo paper brand. I'm using this kit because it has some spaces where I can add some stamping, and the colors go together really well. I like this vintage look that I have here, so that's what I want to try. So let me select the ones that have the most blank space that I can stamp on, and I will be cutting away the faces. I think I just need 2 or maximum 3 papers. This one is quite busy, so I won't use that. This one here actually has quite a bit of space, so I'll use this one. And I'll take this one because this here has quite a bit. And let's choose a third one. How about this one here? So let's start off by cutting away the pieces with the photos. Although that's of course then the next level. Cutting your masterboard with photos with people in them blind, which is what I'm going to do and what Luise did. That's really the next level. Maybe for another video. By the way, you can find this kit linked below in case you want to have a look at it. Now we come to the stamping part. The most logical colors to use here would be vintage colors. Something like vintage photo maybe, or ground espresso. But I think I want to go with something bolder. So I'm going to try my peacock feathers distress oxide because I want like a bam effect. And I really enjoy mixing vintage with a more modern look. So let's start off with this one. And I'm going to use this stamp set, which is one of my favorites. It's called Faded Type CMS 397 and it's by Stampers Anonymous and Tim Holtz. So which one shall we use here? How about this one? And I am going to wear gloves because I don't like having that distress oxide all over my hands for days. I have not tried this technique before turning on the camera, so I have zero experience with this. So let's see if it's as easy as Luise is making it look in her video. So first we need to wet our paper, kind of a lot. Then let's ink up our stamp. Okay, let's do this. I'm a bit nervous. Okay, that does not look too bad. Can I put the wet stamp in the distress oxide? Probably not a great idea. I don't remember Luise mentioning that, so better to dry it off. I also want to add one of those up there. Very interesting. So again, this method will only work with matte photo paper. It will not work with regular copy paper. So now I'll take a kitchen towel and get rid of all of the water. And now we have these imperfect prints, which is what I wanted. I didn't want the perfect stamp. And these are now really permanent. So if you smudge across these even with water, it will not smear, which is really fascinating. Okay, let's try another one. Let's let this dry. Let's do this one here, and this time I'll switch up the Distress Oxide to Crackling Campfire, which I think is going to work really well with this red here. Let's try this bolder one right here. Let's try some down here. Okay, that looks like a mess right now, but hopefully that will be fine. So I'll dry this again. Let's add some more color, and let's do some up here. Let's take our paper towel. Very dominant here, but I like it. Okay, let's do one more. We have this one. How about some blue? We can try the Uncharted Mariner. And I'll try this script here. Let's add it down here. Ink it up. Here we go. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna be a good one. Let's do another one down here. Uncharted Mariner is a very strong color, very juicy. Okay, let's dab the water off. Very cool. Of course, you could just stamp your stamp without adding the water, but then of course it's not permanent. If you don't plan on adding any liquid media on top, or any gel or anything, then obviously you can just stamp it like that, but you will of course get a much preciser stamp. The beauty of this technique is that you get like a little more abstract result, although these are not as abstract as I thought it would be. These probably more so than this or these. So I will dry these. So then we'll take them, turn them over, and cut them blind. Every time I do this, it's a challenge. So don't get attached. I am sticking, as always, to rectangles and squares. No triangles or any weird shapes. You do whatever you want to do. Then I'm taking a 12 by 12 cardstock. So I want this side to be on the back side. So I'm going to turn it around and glue everything on this side. And this paper is from a paper pack from Action, which is no longer available, unfortunately. So let's turn around our paper scraps. Okay, lots of fun pieces to play with. So I'm just going to randomly, without thinking, just glue them on, and I'm going to use my matte gel by Liquitex. Luise just used her glue stick, so just use what works for you. And just like Luise, I'm going to be sewing over these as well, but that is totally optional. So normally if I would go over this stamped part with my matte gel, it would smear. Make sure you don't get bubbles or wrinkles. So I didn't get it entirely full. I think I'll cut off a few more pieces from here just to fill up that page. Once it's dry, I'm going to go ahead and cut off all the excess bits that are hanging from the edge. So one of the pieces of ephemera I want to make from this is a large pocket for my planner. I will also link my Plan With Me playlist for you below in case you want to see how I made this planner. So the last page of my May signature is still empty. So I want to make a pocket for that. So I'll cut it here. I think by the time you see this video, I will already have my July papers in here, but I'm not filming in the order that I'm posting these. So then I'm going to take my 1 3/4 inch oval punch to punch a little hole here in the front. So then I'm going to ink up the edges, and this time I want to give it softer edges, so I'm going to use my makeup brush rather than my inking tool. I'm usually too lazy to do this because you need two hands for this and you need to put a paper underneath, so that's why I usually prefer just going like this. But this time I just want the softer look. Then I'm going to stitch around it with my sewing machine. I stitched around it with a red thread, which is something I actually never do, but I really like it here. So now I'll just use my PVA glue to glue that down. Then I have this photo, which is my grandmother and her brother, so my great uncle. And I want to add this as a focal point, but again, I'm going to add the same technique of stamping with the Distress Oxide, because I have a lot of white here and that's kind of boring to just put it there. So let's make it wet. I'm going to use the Crackling Campfire again. I'll try this one here, which has a little bit more of a modern look. Oh wow, let's see if that's going to work. Let's try the other side. Maybe a bit here as well. And maybe even down here. It's upside down, but I don't think it's going to matter. This is super abstract. Okay, that is pretty abstract. And I guess it wouldn't be me if I wouldn't add a little bit of gold here. So I'm going to take my all-purpose ink in 70 Vegas Gold by the Japanese company Tsukineko. And then I'll also emboss this scarf that she has around her neck. So I'll use my Distress embossing pen for that. And I'll add my black sparkly embossing powder by Hero Arts. So then I'll ink up the edges with my walnut stain. Now when I put this here, I feel like it blends in too much into the background. So I want another layer in between to make the photo stand out a little bit more. And I chose this vintage paper. So I'll just tear around this so that it has a little bit of a border. Then I'll ink up that edge as well. And then I'll stick it on here. Lastly, I'm going to stamp the word friends on the same paper that I used underneath here, because even though they are siblings, they were also friends all their lives. They even lived next door to each other. Luise, thank you as always for some amazing inspiration. And if you want to see a more modern version with popping colors to make masterboards and ephemera, you can go check out the video right there. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.